Damn, on stage with a bunch of legends today. Man, feels like it's 2021 again. Adam is back from Consensus, man. How is it?
It was great, man. Lots of bullishness. It's all about meme coins, lots of meme coin chatter. Just talking about how the pendulum has swung in crypto from utility to not utility, the antithesis of utility. So general consensus is, though, we're going to swing back at some point. Just got to be ready for that swing to happen.
Yeah, I'm excited to see. One more question, because I know we're gonna have a space about it tomorrow, man. But you spoke about Bell's miners, man. Is Bell's really now in the big time in the mining game?
Well, I mean, it's like, you know, the guys who sell mining equipment, who sell those boxes, they want to move as many boxes as possible. So any income stream that they can give to the people buying those, those miners, they want us, they need help promoting it. They need people to know about Bell's coin and the possibility for Bell's coin to make money. So yeah, they want us up there trying to tell people that that Bells has a future, right? And that's all community based. Whether or not Bells coin survives or not, or has any value at all, is going to be based on those people in the Discord right now who are believers in it and want to build something on it, make it cool, whatever, create memes around it, anything, right? It's going to depend on those guys, and myself, and everybody involved. So they're trying to get us actively involved to try and just create the idea that Bell's coin has a future. And certainly merge mining is basically happening right now. In the next couple of weeks, it's being pushed through, and so it'll give those miners an extra income incentive to buy those new mining machines, right? So it was fun though. It was a great time.
Damn, love to hear it. Well, first, before I do make the round of introductions and hellos, everyone who's in the space, please retweet the space. I pinned it up to the top, whether it's the video or the spaces, whichever one you want to help share and promote. We've got a lot of updates today. I think it's been maybe 2 months or so since we have had one of these spaces. So I'm excited to hear what everybody's been in store. As always, throughout the conversation, if you're somebody in the crowd who wants to come up and ask some questions, just hit that request button and we'll bring you up here. Or, if you'd rather just not talk, you could come here on the live stream or down. If you're listening to this on Spaces, in the bottom right-hand corner is a purple button. You can go ahead and post your question there, and we will read them off and ask them. And so without further ado, we have 2 legends on stage. Well, 3, actually a bunch on stage, but 2 of the main focus will be here with Adam Krellenstein, who's one of the co-founders of Counterparty, and Joe Looney, one of the fathers of Rare Pepe, who's become one of the core devs building the protocol and updating. So first and foremost, I want to pass it off to say hello to Adam. How's it been, man? It's been a few months since we've had this conversation. How are you feeling about everything with Counterparty?
Yeah, thanks for having me on the show. Again, it's always a pleasure, and things are going really well. Trucking along on the protocol development, on the reference implementation, and I was just in Lisbon for NFC, for a non-fungible conference, where I got to meet a bunch of other Counterparty community members in person for the first time, and that was really wonderful.
Wow, man. So tell me, let's dive into that a little bit. You've been, you disappeared, or you went into work on some other things for 9 years, and came back. Is it the same faces from 2014? Did you meet some new faces? Is there a new type of energy? What's the community telling you in person about everything that's happened over the last 6 months?
Yeah, it's mostly new faces. There's some people that have been around for the whole duration. Tatiana of Tatiana coin fame, in particular, I saw again in Lisbon, and that was really wonderful. She's still just deeply involved in the community, and that's really wonderful to see. But in general, it's a lot of new faces. A lot of people got in 2015 or so, where they were sort of in during 2014 when I was still there. But they hadn't really become major members of the community yet. And then things started taking off in 2015. The culture shifted a lot at that time. And then there was maybe another round of people that came in a few years ago, 2020, 2021. And the culture shifted. The focus initially, right, in 2014 was much more on what is now today known as DeFi. On contracts for difference, on betting, on oracles, on the DEX. And these days the focus is much more on tokens, and what one can do with tokens, on how one sort of moves tokens around, how one can acquire tokens in any way possible. And it's less about sort of replacing the financial system, and more about discovering, creating value on Bitcoin using Counterparty, which I think is a very nice and natural thing to see, and I'm there for it.
Yeah, I think we all are, man. The Counterparty space, always one of our bigger spaces, because the community is devout to the protocol. And then hopping over to Mr. Joe Looney, man, I saw you were out at I think in Lisbon as well, making some rounds. How's everything been in Joe land?
I didn't make it to Lisbon, unfortunately, but it looked like a lot of fun. I was in New York. I saw you there, Jake. So got to see a bunch of people there. Yeah. I just before I kind of get into it, I'll make one quick note. I am not a core developer. I have a lot of opinions that I like to share about the way development should go, but Adam and his team have been doing the actual work of kind of updating the code and everything. I'd say I'm more of an application developer. I could build things on top of Counterparty. So, but yeah, no, I reached out to Adam last week. Your Adam, Emblem Adam, doing another Counterparty space just because it has been a while and there's been a lot of changes this year. I mean, it started off with a bang in January, and then I think there's one of the things I'd like to see with this space is just to kind of let people ask questions that are just kind of curious what's going on. Maybe they're not fully aware of like kind of where things are going, and it's been a lot of, at least on my end, it's been a lot of kind of behind the scenes stuff. Adam and his team have been kind of reworking the API and doing a lot of the stuff there. So as far as stuff I've been working on has been kind of more just getting things updated, getting them ready, testing the API, and just kind of getting ready for the next stage of updates and stuff like that. So yeah, it's been a busy year for me. Personally, I've got a giant project going on in my house, and it's just I'm in the basement now trying to avoid all the banging on the walls. So hopefully it's not too bad. But yeah, no, it's been exciting just kind of see the amount of work kind of going into the protocol and kind of shoring things up, and getting them to a point where it really easy for anybody to spin up their own node, run a Bitcoin node, and then run Counterparty on top of that. And I think that's kind of where we want to get to. I mean, that's really the only way you get to a point where the protocol can survive long term is to simplify it as much as you can, to get it running, so that anybody can spin it up and get it running. So I think we've got a clear path to that now, where in the past maybe it wasn't so clear. So yeah, exciting, a lot of exciting stuff.
Yeah, that is awesome. Well, let's start with Adam, and let's start with some of the basics and maybe some of the makeup of the Counterparty development team. For those that aren't aware and maybe have just slid in the space because they want to know what Counterparty is, can you just give literally a quick 1-2 minute what Counterparty is, a little bit about you returning to the protocol, and how has the team, the makeup of the team working on Counterparty evolved since you rejoined Counterparty?
Yeah. The way that I like to explain Counterparty is as an extension to Bitcoin. It's a protocol that lives on top of Bitcoin, that exists entirely within the Bitcoin blockchain. And every Counterparty transaction is a Bitcoin transaction, but it can do a lot more than what Bitcoin itself can do. Bitcoin is pretty much limited to moving and storing Bitcoin, the token. And Counterparty allows you to create new tokens and trade those on chain in a trustless peer-to-peer manner. It allows you to create oracles and broadcast information. It allows you to do a lot of things with tokens and other sort of, again, simple DeFi functionality with smart contracts. Not user programmable smart contracts, but smart contracts nonetheless. And that's what a lot of what it's been used for, is those simple smart contracts and tokens that are created on the Bitcoin blockchain. It's more powerful and more flexible than a UTXO based model like ordinals or colored coins or runes, but it's still entirely on Bitcoin. And yeah, I mean, when I came back 6 months ago, there's a mountain of tech debt to resolve. Engineers talk about tech debt that accumulates and has to be paid off as you let the code sit or as you develop new features. And so there was a lot of testing, performance work, deployment work, API work, refactoring, rewriting, cleanup before we could start adding new features and really fixing bugs and extending the protocol to sort of bring it into the current day, because it's sort of been very static for a long time. And I would say 80% of the way through that refactoring, through that preparation. So, coming up maybe next month or so, we will make the first actual protocol change since I've been back, which is going to fix a number of actual features with the protocol itself rather than just sort of the code. Now that the code is in a good place, we can start to sort of fix issues with the protocol itself. And then once we've done that, we can start to add features. And there are a lot of features that people want. Integration with Bitcoin itself, further integration with other L2s, and ways to make manipulating and owning and transferring tokens much more powerful.
Yeah, I think everyone wants a feature-rich counterparty. One more final, just kind of history question, and then we'll dive into what's ongoing. You co-founded Counterparty with 2 other individuals. You kind of went off, and then you came back. What would you say is the motivation for your return after 9 years, 9-year hiatus?
Yeah, and the biggest thing is that I think that Counterparty has a lot of potential that hasn't been realized yet. It is, in 2024, still the most powerful Bitcoin-based platform, Bitcoin-based decentralized peer-to-peer protocol. And it hasn't really been very actively developed for the past 8 or 9 years. It's been maintained, mostly it's sort of been kept running, and a lot of people have built stuff on top of it. There are a lot of projects, especially around like rare pepes and tokens, Speltogenesis, etc., that have been built on top of it. But the actual protocol and the reference implementation of that protocol, the node software, haven't really changed. There've been made a couple of changes in that time period, and it's just sort of progressively become harder and harder to build on top of it because code rots. If you leave it alone, it rots. And Counterparty still has the potential, remarkably, to do a lot more than what it's currently doing, and to do it a lot better. Make it a lot easier for people to build on top of Counterparty. We're building on top of Counterparty as sort of a feature rather than just a sure, why not? It works. And that means a new API, making it easier to run nodes. It means like tweaking the features in the protocol to make it much, much, much more attractive for other projects. That's very exciting to me when the platform can actually actively support projects that are built on top of it rather than just sort of being static and sitting there.
Yeah, agreed. And one thing that I noticed since last time we talked, you had an announcement of the formation of what is called Unspendable Labs, which you're now the CEO. Yeah. Can you just dive in, give us full overview of why spinning up a labs kind of company, what type of products are going to be coming out of Unspendable Labs, and how large is the team?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So one of the things that became obvious pretty quickly after I got back involved with Counterparty 6 months ago was that it's all well and good to fix the protocol and the reference implementation, but it's really critical for any blockchain project, including Counterparty, to have best-in-class, up-to-date, modern, cross-platform, user-friendly tools and infrastructure. That means wallets, block explorers, integrations with exchanges, et cetera, et cetera. And again, Counterparty has sort of been lacking in that department. The mobile wallet that Counterparty has, the only one, was updated, I think, 5 years ago, last. And I know the community is really, really eager to see, for it to be much easier to use Counterparty, and with friendly modern tools. And that's something that I think is well performed by a for-profit company that can fund its development based upon various revenue sources. I won't go into the detail. And so it's a separate thing from, of course, the Counterparty work itself. But Unspendable Labs will be built on, will be using a lot of Counterparty, the protocol, and it will be developing tools on top of Counterparty. It will also potentially be working with other cryptocurrencies and other networks. It's not exclusively about Counterparty. But Unspendable Labs will be contributing a significant amount of development resources, tooling, et cetera, to the Counterparty ecosystem, and Counterparty will benefit directly from that.
Awesome. Yeah, right here on the website says Unspendable Labs is launching a modern suite of native tools for the Counterparty ecosystem and other Bitcoin L2 protocols, including a new wallet and a block explorer. Let's dive into both of these as they're literally highlighted on the website. And this has been a discussion since I joined the Counterparty community in 2021 about getting a web extension wallet and how, you know, important it is to onboarding new users to the ecosystem, as everything is now either you need a mobile wallet and you need a web extension wallet. What would that look like specifically for Counterparty? Are there any nuances to building a wallet for Counterparty that maybe the Unspendable Labs team is attempting to tackle?
Sorry, I didn't answer your previous question about the team. You can see on GitHub that we have a few developers, maybe 3 developers working on the protocol itself, on the node software, and then we have another couple that are working on Unspendable Lab stuff. That is to say, the front end that we're developing, the web wallet being one piece of that. There's not any real magic sauce, and that's sort of the thing that's strange. That Counterparty has been so static for so long that it's become a part of the identity of Counterparty and the Counterparty community and ecosystem, that it doesn't change and that it has bad tools. And I would like to break that assumption. It doesn't need to. There's no particular reason why Counterparty should be unfriendly to use, why it shouldn't have good wallets, why you should have to use Electrum in order to send or receive Counterparty tokens or assets, or do any kind of Counterparty functionality with coin control, as an example. That's just a basic feature of a wallet, and we can build it. The only sort of caveat there is that the API for the Counterparty node was bad. It's badly designed. I talked about this, I think last time I was on the show. I designed it. I made some big mistakes 10 years ago, and we fixed it. And the initial feedback we've gotten has been very positive. It's much, much friendlier to use, and it's much easier to build on. And so our wallet is, of course, going to use that new API, as should everyone. Everyone should switch over to the V2 Node API. It's much better. And if anyone has any feedback about that, please submit it as a GitHub issue.
Awesome. And then moving over to the Block Explorer, I'd say over the last, I don't know, maybe 7 years or so, the Counterparty community has become familiar with XChain, which was founded and created by JDog, who has started a new business and is taking it over and kind of morphing it. What type of features will the Unspendable Labs Block Explorer look like? Is there anything new that's going to be added? And just dive through, the transition of XChain to these new explorers.
Yeah. So the biggest thing that I can see is that Counterparty needs an alternative generalist wallet. Just sort of what is happening on the protocol, what's everything that happened in this block, give me all the information about this asset, etc. There are already a number of good, healthy, cool, modern, user-friendly explorers for particular sub-ecosystems of Counterparty. There are Red Pepe wallets, and there are Stamps wallets and explorers and things like that. But at least in the explorer space, there isn't, and the wallet space, there isn't really a generalist alternative. If you want to just figure out what's happening in the protocol at a relatively low level, if you want to see everything that happened, then you have to use XChain. And there's the XCP dev is sort of a unfinished product that's open source. It was released as sort of an alternative, but it hasn't gotten a lot of development effort either. So what we're calling the Horizon Explorer and Horizon Wallet, those are the brands. The Horizon Explorer is going to be an alternative to XChain because it's going to offer everything. It's going to be generalist. It's not going to be the best thing if you want to look up and trade stamps, or if you want to go deep into rare Pepe trading, but it will be good for Counterparty itself. It'll expose all of the Counterparty node API and the network state and the network history. And that I think is really important.
Yeah, I think everyone's excited. Adam, do you have any questions for Adam?
Yeah. One thing I know people have been asking, and I haven't followed up. So, can we just get an update on the Counter wallet? I know that was a question people kept asking me a couple months ago. Has there been an update on that, getting that fixed?
Yeah, it's a good question. So the story is that Robbie Dermody, the original one of the Counterparty co-founders, and one of the and the original dev for Counter Wallet, put up a bounty for it. Someone in the community said they were going to work on it. I and a couple of colleagues put some effort into reviving it, but it's difficult to revive 10-year-old code. It's doing archaeology. It's really old dependencies. Counter Wallet has this whole big piece of middleware called Counterblock that shouldn't need to exist but does exist, and that's sort of where we got stuck, was just reviving that. So I and my team unfortunately have recently shifted our focus towards building a new wallet, which is going to be cross-platform, modern, etc. And I'm not putting any effort towards reviving Counter Wallet at this moment.
So people then who used Counter Wallet, what's the strategy going forward for them? Should they wait for you?
An import feature into Horizon Wallet. Yeah, you will be able to import is actually sort of not really the right word. You will be able to use a Counter Wallet passphrase. And it's all client-side cryptography. Nothing ever goes to any servers. So you'll be able to use all your Counter Wallet assets, access all of it natively, securely, using the new wallet that we are developing.
And when do you think? When do you estimate the Horizon Wallet will be available?
I don't want to make any promises because that's tricky. But a couple of months, not a long time. We're working hard on it.
That's why you always quote the time frame as a quarter, right? It's either quarter 1, 2, 3, or 4. So
Yeah.
3 months of leeway, and sometimes still doesn't even hit.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's coming along well. I feel pretty confident about it, and I'm very excited for it to be out there. I think I think there's a lot of pent up demand, and I'm hoping that it'll, not just please existing users, but bring new users to Counterparty.
Yeah, I completely agree as well. There's a handful of directions that we could go with this. One I want to address, just to see if there was any decision that was made on this. One of the community kind of debates or discussions that was ongoing last time we had this was the conversation around the XCP token and whether to remove it, because some people believed that it was hurting adoption and it was causing too much friction. I think the other side was that they want it to be a utility token, and it's so integral to the protocol, and it's been around for 10 years. Is there an update on it? Was there a decision made for this, or is it still something that's kind of divided the community?
I think that the community is not so divided. I think that there's frustration at the ecosystem, and I think a lot of that is misdirected frustration around the tooling and the integrations, and how difficult it is to get XCP. You can't get rid of it. That doesn't make any sense. Like almost none of the features of Counterparty would be possible without XCP. You just need another token because otherwise you can't incentivize the correct behavior. You can't verify that the appropriate actions have been taken for something to happen on the protocol. And the issue is that XCP right now is still hard to get. And so it's seen and felt to be friction. And that's unfortunate. That's not how other cryptocurrencies are generally viewed. It's because other cryptocurrencies and other cryptocurrency platforms have better tooling, better integrations. It's easier to get the native token, and then you can use it straightforwardly in a good wallet. Right now, the state of the wallet situation in Counterparty is so poor that people are actually using Bitcoin wallets to do a lot of Counterparty transactions. And like that's a hackish workaround for a sorry situation. And I'm not knocking anyone who does that, or even people who build tooling around doing that. Like that was necessary, but it's not the right solution given enough resources. The right solution is just a proper Counterparty wallet that works. It's up to date. And if people have been using just vanilla Bitcoin wallets with Counterparty for so long that it's sort of become part of the culture. Yeah, of course. Well, Counterparty is on Bitcoin. Of course, you should be able to use a Bitcoin wallet. That doesn't follow. And once you get in that mindset, then you start to say, well, why do I need this silly token anyway? This token just gets in the way. And it's because people are using the protocol. They're only using some fraction of the protocol. They're only doing it with this rigmarole where everything is harder than it should be. And if that situation is fixed, I think that the role that XCP plays and all of the additional functionality that XCP enables will become much clearer.
Yeah, it's a little bit of the chicken or the egg situation when it comes to incentives and tooling, right? It's like, how do you incentivize people if there's no tooling? Then how do you acquire the incentive or the token if it's really hard to get? So
we're trying to break that cycle with Unspendable Labs. We're building the tooling so that everything will be easier. We are working on the protocol and making the protocol better and more modern and up to date, so that it'll be and more affordable to use and faster and so on and so forth, so that people will be able to acquire to get into the ecosystem faster.
Sweet. We're gonna go to Joe, then Dogfather after.
Yeah, hold on a second. I gotta move. There's hammering in the room that I'm in now. Hold on.
No worries. We'll go to Dogfather and come back.
Yeah, just my 2 cents on this XCP discussion. We already had that last time. So I think the Ordinals ecosystem, or the Rune ecosystem, clearly show that you don't need the utility token, and I think people really appreciate that. So my suggestion would always to cut back on the XCP usage to something where you really need it technically, like for the DEX, but maybe not for asset creation. But that's just my 2 cents. And I think at the end, we have all these L2s now. We have all these token protocols and so on, that popped up because of Ordinals. And at the end, it's not so much the technical details. You could have the best protocol, but if you don't get enough attention, it's not grabbing any traction. So I think the social media strategy or to penetration strategy is king. And Counterparty has an OG community. They have outstanding members. I think that will be the key part, whether to bring Counterparty to a more mainstream adoption, and not the technical details or any kind of fancy new feature. In my point of view, Counterparty already had like too many features, all these betting and whatnot of stuff in the wallets. It was just confusing, so many buttons. Look at the modern wallets and marketplaces. At the end, it's just a buy and sell button for most people, right? Inscriptions were extremely easy. You just need some BTC. You put your image and bam. Every kind of even a simple dog like mine could do that. And I think that was the success factor of Ordinals.
All right, I'm back.
Good, Jeff.
All right, I think this sounds a little muffled where I am now. Yeah, I just wanted to add some context to the the tooling wallet discussion. Obviously, I'm personally invested in that as I've built wallets. I think it kind of comes down to the fact that there really is no counterparty community, in the fact that everybody gets into Counterparty for a specific thing, right? There's for a specific, let's say, sub community. I get into rare pepes, get into fake rares, get into spells of Genesis, get into stamps. So a lot of users that haven't been around for a while will tend to defer to the tooling around that specific, let's say, use case of Counterparty, right? So I can say personally from the Rare Pepe aspect, we've had great wallets since 2016 that are very specific to Rare Pepes. Maybe I'm a little biased there, but yeah, no, I mean,
I fully agree. For whatever, I really think so.
I think one of the, like what Adam was saying, it's the generalist wallet. It's the do everything wallet, and that's why people are still using Counter Wallet. You know, it's like it's because you get in, especially like as a developer. I mean, me personally, I've always been very interested in application specific wallets. I mean, the very first wallet I built was for Let's Talk Bitcoin and like LTB coin. I don't know if anybody remembers that years ago. But yeah, I mean, I always loved the idea of you don't need to use the general purpose wallet, because to new users that could be confusing, right? What do I need all these extra functions for if I'm never going to even use them in the first place? So I've always been very focused on building in only the useful functions and not even approaching the functions that you probably won't use. Maybe if you're a power user, you'll figure out how to use them, but for the 95% of people that use it, it's only going to having more functionality kind of tends to just confuse people. Hey, what's this button? No, don't click that one. Don't click that button. You don't need that one. So yeah, I think that what happened kind of over the years is we've kind of these kind of sub use cases of Counterparty, and because Counterparty is a very generalistic thing, right? It's just tokens. Well, what are the tokens for? Well, you need to go to these other little kind of sub communities. Here's one using them for Rare Pepes. Here's one using them for whatever. You know, it's like, so you end up in these kind of silos. And that was one of the things I always thought was interesting when like Adam and Evan came back into the fold, and they're like, where's the Counterparty community? And it's like, well, it's all these other communities, right? And like half the people in those communities don't even, they might know the name Counterparty and the fact that what they're into is built on it. But I mean, you get some people collecting Rare Pepes, and you're like, oh yeah, Counterparty, and they're like, what's Counterparty? You know, like they don't even know. Like that. Oh, I just use my Rare Pepe wallet and I send it to my address and off I go. You know, so yeah, so I think Adam's totally right. I mean, it's like we do need that what's been neglected. And I mean, give a lot of props to J-Dog. I mean, he's held it together. He's tried to hold everything together to give people that general purpose thing. But it's a lot for one person to try to do. That's like, out of a lot of ways, doing it out of like the kindness of their heart and a lot of respect. You know, it's like, so I like progress we're seeing now, where like very quickly, Adam looked at it and was like, we need some sort of like entity here that can build these things in a way that's not just out of the kindness of our heart. You know, it's like have some revenue stream that kind of build it in a way that's sustainable, while also then looking at the protocol itself and saying, hey, let's make this sustainable first, right, before we build new things on top of it. So I think we're getting through that, and yeah, it's only going to make it better for everyone. I mean, I've been kind of shouting into the wind for years, saying we need more block explorers. We need more block explorers. I mean, I built Meme Pool WTF. It's a very basic. It's basically just to see transactions, which is useful. I mean, that's kind of 80% of the time the reason you're going to a block explorer is just to see where's my transaction, has it confirmed, and what transactions are going through. So I've kind of been in a holding pattern a little bit with my projects, just kind of as the new API is developed and we kind of build out some of that stuff so that I can be building on the most modern thing. But I do think that as we roll out, I mean, Adam and his team are working on their block explorer, their wallet, but really we can't be dependent on their block explorer, right? It's like there needs to be more. We need more. We need 5 block explorers, 10 block explorers. It's like we need as many as possible. There needs to be more people running nodes, more people running block explorers. And I do think we're getting to the point where rather than all being dependent on one person like we really were for a lot of years there in the middle, we can be less dependent on that and more just, hey, let's build on this protocol. And we're all incentivized to build on the same protocol, because then we can all interact with each other. So yeah, I mean, I think it's just kind of, it's been a very organic thing. I mean, that's we always talk about with Counterparty in general, and like projects on top of like Rare Pepe's, like it was very organic. We kind of just, what do people want? Let's do that, and then like with Fake Rares came out, what do people want to do? Well, people want to make Pepe's, but you can't make Pepe's anymore. All right, now we'll do this other thing. And it was just kind of like everything was reactionary. Well, when it comes to like core protocol consensus software, being just like reactionary, flying by the seat of your pants, probably not the best way to not get like completely encumbered in like massive tech debt, which is I think where we ended up. So I think it's great. I think we get kind of a little bit of a reset here, clean up where we've made it to in the code. We've made it there. We did we went through kind of started from Genesis block, and there were a couple little hiccups with some consensus bugs, but nothing show-stopping. No like big, you thought you had a Nakamoto card, but you really don't kind of thing. So yeah, we made it there. We made it through. I think we should all be happy that Adam built it well enough 9 years ago that we were able to kind of like skate through with kind of like minimal updates. We had some updates. I mean, we added in dispensers, which at the time was great in a way that you could interact directly with Bitcoin. It got a lot of traction. It got people involved. We saw a lot of volume on it, but now we see with stuff like ordinals coming out, there's a better way to do that. I mean, you can actually have like atomic trades with Bitcoin, and we can do that on Counterparty too. So I think it's just getting there and getting ourselves to kind of where Bitcoin is. And then we kind of get this fresh start, but at the same time, still have all our assets that have existed for 10 years and kind of leading up to that. So a lot of good things, change can be hard sometimes. But it's very positive in that, like from a 10,000 foot view, I always operate my overarching kind of operation is I want this to be here in 20 years. What do we need to do for it to be here in 20 years? All right, I want it to be here for another 20 years. I want it to be here, it's like, so everything I do personally, and like decisions made and everything is really that overarching focus is building lasting consensus software. That's not just software, that's maintaining users, it's kind of like everything all together. So I think we're there. I mean, I think we've got a clear path now. And I love people have like questions as far as, or concerns or anything, just let us know. I mean, it's not, there's no big secret or anything here. I mean, I think Adam's been pretty straightforward with what he wants to do. I've tried to be pretty straightforward with where I think we should try to guide Counterparty to be. I mean, my pinned tweet for the last year has been talking about kind of binding assets to UTXOs so we can get that those atomic PSBT trades that we see has made ordinals so successful. It's like you just kind of one Bitcoin protocol is going to say, oh wow, look at what we can do, and then it's like it's up to the other Bitcoin protocols say, oh, that is a really great thing to do. Let's get ourselves there so we can participate in that same kind of market and function. And then that kind of gives you that cross functionality with other L2s. And it's all one big happy Bitcoin family. So that's kind of, I think, where we need to get to, and I think that's where we're going.
It's interesting you mentioned the indexers. I think you can get by almost with no indexer. I mean, if you've looked at Solana's indexer, oh my God, dude, it's the worst thing ever. And certainly if you look at Ethereum, one indexer, it's semi good. As long as, I think almost more important is that you have sort of like some way to maintain it, where obviously Ethereum set it up where Etherscan receives funding and stuff like this. It's almost more important that you get some funding or something, or have a funding mechanism, to support it. Go ahead, Adam, or go ahead, Joe.
So real quick. The irony with Etherscan, and I know we've probably gone through this before, but that was the very first counterparty block explorer.
Yeah, exactly. You guys blew it, man. You blew it.
Well, you know what? Ethereum got a lot of funding, like you said. I mean, if you're running a block explorer and you can either do it out of the kindness of your heart and skate by on maybe some advertisements and some paid APIs, or you can get a bunch of funding from this VC over here to build something else. I mean, that's not a hard decision to make if you're just doing it as a business. So it's the irony that the main Ethereum block explorer was the main counterparty block explorer at one time is I think not lost on a lot of people. So yeah, it is funny.
Adam, what would you say is the update on PSBTs? By far, that is I'd say the most discussed question that I see populating on the timeline. When?
It's everyone is very excited about that. That has, universal excitement and acclaim as an idea. Again, the credit for the design for that goes to Senor Derp Herpenstein. We are going to be building it ASAP. There is just tech debt that needs to be resolved first. There are just things that need to be fixed. You can't add features to a mission critical software, much less a mission critical decentralized protocol, until the bugs are fixed. The risk of lost funds is too high. And the good thing is, I think that we're really coming to the end of the refactoring period. As I said, we've been working hard for 6 months. We have, I don't know, 1,500 commits. We've closed 200 issues. It's been a major push, and we have not. I think I can say we've not added a single feature in that time. And that's not what I want to do. I want to add features, right? I want to make Counterparty better now. But the responsible thing to do is to not just go for the shiny thing. There's critical work that needs to be done to make sure that we're on a solid foundation. Again, because Counterparty is first and foremost a platform. To Joe's point, a lot of people that are on Counterparty don't know that they're on Counterparty. What matters is that it works. And so if we're going to add a big new feature, much less multiple big new features, because just doing atomic swaps is not enough. You have to think about transaction fees and transaction chaining and other details there. You need to have a firm foundation. You need to make sure that block parsing works correctly. You need to make sure that we need to get rid of this address indexer RS middleware dependency, which is non-deterministic and a major pain in the ass to deploy with, to work with. It's been the cause of, a large number of bugs that we've seen, including consensus bugs. So we need to fix that. We need to clean it up so that we have a solid foundation to build on. And then we'll do it.
Yeah, we are really excited for that. I'll go to VectorFi and then Nilly Coins right after.
No, you guys are pretty much answering my questions. I've just been a long time Counterparty holder. I got a free wallet full of shit, and I'm just want to know when we're moving forward. So I'm just trying to get all the answers, and you guys are hitting me with them. So I'm just here for the conversation. Wanting to know when the marketplaces is coming, when we can start, because we're so proto-ordinals that it's almost embarrassing that we're sitting there even having this conversation as to how we're So I'm just here and happy to be in the room. So thanks for having me up.
So Adam, when marketing, man, get ready.
Yeah, what's up? When can we start? I'll fucking start spewing from the mountaintops. You just let me know, bro.
Thanks. Yeah. I think. I mean, we have not been doing a push on marketing. And the big reason is that we don't have the tooling yet. Bring people to. We can't say, hey, listen, come to Counterparty. We don't have a mobile wallet that works. Like, it doesn't work, right? Like you have people. I mean, the projects that are built on top of Counterparty, they have the tooling and they can do the marketing. But that's exactly the point. Is the Counterparty itself as a platform is lacking this critical stuff. And until we have that stuff, which again is coming as soon as we can make it happen, then we'll be able to say, like, come try this wallet. It works. It is modern. It is secure, etc. And then then there'll be something to bring users to.
Awesome. What's up, Nelly?
Hi, I haven't been around for a while. It's really nice to hear you guys, and Adam, very, very nice to hear you here. I wanted to weigh a little bit on the XCP token. The fact that there is a token, I mean, it's a huge financial benefit that you have a token. I mean, everybody's running for those stupid meme coins because everyone is looking for something to invest in. And here you're gonna have like this amazing platform that's been around since the beginning, that still have a lot of dormant assets in it, and which is running on Bitcoin, and it has its own token. So if anyone is going to look to invest in something, it should be XCP. And it's really going to be totally seamless eventually when you have a lively ecosystem. Then right away you get like the function that would get like the exchange to Bitcoin. You won't need to feel like you need to do another step even, because you can facilitate it for anyone who wants to just deal with Bitcoin. They're not gonna know even that their Bitcoin was exchanged to XCP, and the function itself, the transaction itself was made using XCP. So once you have a good ecosystem, it doesn't matter. On the other hand, once you have a token, this token can be really a very important part of the ecosystem itself, and the more like the economic part of the system. And another thing I just want to note, it will take a bit more time, but pretty soon I think AI will come into the scene, and I think will make a huge difference for Counterparty. Again, being on Bitcoin, being there from the beginning, now that it will have like a good modern wallet and everything. I think it's amazing. So great job, all of you. Waiting to see what's going to happen there.
Thanks, Nelly. So Adam, just to kind of follow up on that, what do you foresee? I mean, have you guys finalized what is going to need XCP? What sort of transactions are actually gonna require XCP? Has that been decided yet?
Good question. It hasn't been decided, and the reason is that it's a contentious issue, and there are a lot of people in the community are not at the moment sort of they don't have a shared vision for XCP, for the protocol, etc. And there's it's just contentious. What I think XCP should be is more or less gas. It should be the token that you use to pay for counterparty features that couldn't exist without XCP. And for instance, the fees should be floating. They should change over time based upon usage and demand for those features. Right now, almost all of the fees in Counterparty, I think all of the fees in Counterparty were hard-coded 10 years ago to a particular value. That's crazy. the prices have changed, the ecosystem has changed. But whenever there's a conversation around, like, maybe let's change it, maybe let's make it whatever, people get up in arms, and that's disappointing and frustrating. I think that it's a major question, for instance, around atomic swaps and moving counterparty tokens into UTXOs, what the fee structure is like there. What I would like to propose is that it be floating based upon demand, that it starts off really, 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 really low. And only once there's a certain number of transactions per block or per difficulty window or what have you, do the fees start to rise. And then if there are too many transactions, the fees go up. And if there are too few transactions, the fees go down. That is perfectly possible, and it seems like the right solution. But that would allow the fees to be lower than they are today, but still for the fees to be meaningful in the long run. Because, like as Joe said, like I'm in this for the long run.
And those fees would just get burned, basically, or is there any sort of plan?
Yeah.
Yep.
All XCP fees are right now, they're burned. They're just destroyed. They vanish. People have talked for a long time around about the idea of sending them somewhere. I really don't like the idea. I think that that's too centralized. And let's be clear, like, if the tokens were going to go anywhere, they would go to me and the development team. I don't want them. I think that they should be, as we're given back to the entire ecosystem by being destroyed. And I think that the currency can deflate. That's not as bad as it sounds, right? People have this picture when they, a Bitcoin, for instance. In the picture that people have of Bitcoin, the fees that people pay go to the ecosystem development. They don't. They go to miners, and those miners spend the money on power and chips. But the people who are actually developing Bitcoin, the people who are running full nodes, are not the people who are getting those fees. Miners generally are not the parties that do the most. They do any significant development for the protocol, for the ecosystem. All they do is they run computation, and Counterparty pays those fees, right? So it's incentivizing that security as well, that increase in security as well, of that hash power. But the Bitcoin ecosystem, which I think it should be the inspiration, because it's so deeply and closely connected to that of Counterparty, has had to be incentivized to grow organically, independent of transaction fees, right? That means building businesses on top of the protocol, businesses on top of Bitcoin, businesses on top of Counterparty. It means, it means coming up with a different system. The alternative is a pre-mine. Counterparty never had a pre-mine. No tokens were ever sent or distributed initially to me or to any of the other Counterparty founders. And I think that that's the way Satoshi had it, and that's what I think is best.
Got it. I'm going to go ahead and call on some of the hands. Go ahead, Cody. Thank you for waiting patiently.
Yeah, no problem. I'm kind of a nobody, so it's okay. So first off, I want to say I'm not going to mention an albatross there, Joe. But I wanted to ask about the nodes a bit more, because I was in a space the other day with a bunch of Bitcoiners, Gary Cardone's space there, and they knew nothing of what you guys are doing. Zero. I brought it up for 2 seconds. They're like, isn't that a taxable event when you move it into a vault or change things? And I'm like, I don't really know, but I don't think so. Anyway, so a lot of those guys have no idea, which is really cool. You guys are so ahead of the times. Incredibly smart people in this room. I wanted to ask if someone could share, like maybe Joe or Adam or whoever really knows, share your favorite node that you could run for XCP. Because when you look into it, man, there's a sea of stuff, and you never know if you're like ordering the right thing or if it's going to be the right thing when it shows up. Because decentralizing everything, the more people that are running all these nodes everywhere, less disruption in the world will affect how all this stuff keeps going, right? That's the whole idea, isn't it? So I'd like a bit more info on that, and how the people in here, certainly the ones smarter than me, could actually help run nodes and help everything run smoother.
I can take that one. So you can run a node right now by going to the Counterparty GitHub repo, github.com/counterpartyxcp. That will link to your documentation. The official documentation will tell you exactly how to run a node. It is now possible. It was not really possible 6 months ago. 6 months ago, the only way to do it was through a very arcane and not really well supported method that required trusting a central party to give you a copy of your database. That is no longer the case. We fixed that problem, and you can run a node yourself. It's not as easy as I would like it to be. It will be much easier in 2 or 3 months after we've gotten rid of address indexer RS, but you can do it with the official documentation and from the Counterparty repo. If you have any trouble, hit me up on Telegram or Twitter, and I'll give you a hand.
Yeah, I think that's one thing we saw. Well, I saw personally firsthand is the way, running a full Bitcoin node, 18 months ago was challenging. And now it's literally like one button easy, like one button install the Bitcoin node. I think that if you want to have a bunch of users run a bunch of nodes, it has to be pretty dumbed down easy, to get to any sort of scale of users. So it's nice to see you guys making that. Go ahead, Cody. Do you have another question?
Well, just along that same lines. So I was messing around with another Web3 thing, and they actually shipped me a box that I just plug in, and it does it all. It was through Gala. But so, do you guys ever think about doing something like that? If you really want to get a lot of people involved, it has to be super dumbed down. If they wear a hat and shades like me, they need some pretty dumb stuff to play with. You ever think about something that's preloaded with hardware that literally you order it and plug it into your computer and it starts going?
I would love it if someone would start that business. That's what Expendable Labs focuses on. I think that we're going to make it really, really easy to start a Counterparty node and run it. That's a promise. That is a very important goal, not because it's important in of itself, but because of what it means for the ecosystem, for adoption, for people building on top of it. It should be a single Debian package. It should be an easy installer. There should be an EC2 image, et cetera, et cetera. There are Docker images. If you just right now, if you want a Counterparty node, it's really 3 commands or something like that. It's install this tool called Docker Compose, copy the repository from GitHub to your computer, and then run Docker Compose start or whatever it is, and that will get you a Counterparty node and a Bitcoin node for that matter on your computer. It's still not easy enough because that requires that means you can't already have a Bitcoin node, et cetera, et cetera. There are ways of making it easier. We don't have the Debian package yet for those that want it. We don't have the EC2 image instance, EC2 image yet. We will have all of those things, and it will be faster to start up and more reliable.
I think what Cody was referring to, Adam, was, if you haven't seen it, there's this box. It's called Umbrel, and they literally made it. I mean, that's the one I used in anticipation of Runes. You literally plug it in, and it's just like you get an app store. And it's like, you want the Bitcoin node, click here, and 20 hours later you have a Bitcoin node. It's really great. It's pretty amazing, honestly.
Someone should do that. Yeah, no, I'm fully in support of that.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, if somebody does it, name it "You See It" or something like that.
Maybe we can get Jason Williams to sponsor it, man. Maybe. Yeah. I know Arwen was unmuted his mic. Arwen, what's up, man?
Did I unmute my mic? Anyway, I'm happy to be here, guys. Thanks. I just come for a class like everybody else. I just saw an opportunity to gate crash the speakers panel. So I thought it would bring some promotion to me. So please like and follow out of them. And also, they're talking about Counterparty while we're here, because it's about the users. And thanks to everybody. Everybody knows. Love to everybody. But Darky's out there doing his rare go-go thing right now. And it's nice to see that while the technicals of Counterparty really at an exciting time for everybody, we're still rocking on with more Rare Pepe derivatives. That's really nice. So just want to say thanks to everybody, really. I'm not here to show. There's stuff coming that other people are speaking about. I don't need to say anything. Big up, exciting times.
Good, Joe.
Yeah, I just wanted to make a comment. I know we're talking about wallets and stuff, and that there's like the kind of like transition and things are changing. You can always use a Rare Pepe wallet, and it'll you can see your other assets in there. You just won't necessarily see the images for them. But yeah, RarePepeWallet.wtf is the current modern version of Rare Pepe Wallet. It's responsive. You can use it on your phone. You can use it on your computer. You can connect a ledger to it. So yeah, I mean it's kind of the it's the Rare Pepe. I'd say that it will take over from RarePepeWallet.com. Eventually, what I'm going to do is build RarePepeWallet.com, kind of the old site, as like a skin on the new modern version. So yeah, it takes. You can use a counter wallet passphrase. It's all client side. Everything's stored on your browser. So yeah, if anybody needs any help with that, obviously give me a shout. And I can help you with it. But I tried to make it as stupid easy to use as possible. My mom is able to use it, so if she can use it, then anybody should be able to use it. So
fantastic. Adam, I have one more question. So let's say I'm in the crowd, I'm a developer, and I want to follow along with all of the updates. Maybe, I'm a marketplace and I want to add PSBTs whenever that's added, or I'm looking into, EVM that you guys are doing. What's the best way to follow your guys' updates and participate or get access to that code so that some of these builders can be ready when these products are finalized, or these updates, I should say?
Oh, you're muted.
Sorry. I was saying, if you want to drink from the fire hose, GitHub is the place. We're very, very active on GitHub. There are, I don't know how many PRs every day, issues being created, discussed, etc. There's Telegram. Feel free to reach out to me there. There are some, larger public channels, which can be a bit noisy, but there are also some private channels. If you're building stuff, let me know. Yeah, but if you want to get involved, or want to see what's upcoming, then GitHub is the place. I have pretty well pruned milestones going out a number of months with issues labeled and categorized and prioritized for all of those milestones. Right now, we're working on the on one release, and we have the next probably 4 releases mapped out. Which brings us out pretty far in the future. Note that virtual machine is not on that roadmap. We can build it. I don't know if the community wants it. So I would love to hear from the community about how much they would love that. And I would love to hear it publicly, because nothing's going to get forced down anyone's throat.
Hey, honestly, how I see it, I mean, we talked about this kind of last time, but you see all of these Bitcoin L2s getting funded basically just off of the premise that they're EVM compatible. So if that was brought to Counterparty, it's a little bit more, native to Bitcoin. And if you could bring these EVM capabilities, this is the same thing they're doing with BRC-20 2.0 from what we hear. So there are a handful of meta protocols or extensions that are outside of this kind of Bitcoin L2 trend that are using EVM in a variety of different ways. So I personally think it would be a net positive. Maybe everybody else has different opinions, but once you add EVM, then eventually it's SVM for Solana, and then it's XYZ other VM, right, that comes afterwards. And right, there's right now a kind of a big interest in trying to bring assets to Bitcoin. I mean, Emblem, right? We've been doing this for a while. We just did our first one recently. Today, there was Starknet announced they're going to use OPCat to scale. We saw Internet Computer partnered with Tap Protocol to try to bring assets to Bitcoin. So I would say there's a lot of experimentation in that world happening right now. And it to me, there's no downside to it outside of, I guess, maybe some of this like Bitcoin maximalist kind of you'd lose some of that Bitcoin maximalist kind of perspective. But
It's
at the end of
probably
the
the easiest way for you to raise, to be honest, if you wanted to raise some capital.
yeah, that's where all the funding is going towards these like EVM kind of based Bitcoin protocols.
I would probably not be in favor of just copying the EVM to Counterparty and Bitcoin. First of all, I prototyped that 10 years ago. And I learned the ins and outs of the EVM, and frankly, I don't like it. It's become the standard, and that's shocking to me. I would love to build a much better virtual machine with a much better language than Solidity. I don't know if we could raise money on that. I don't know if the community wants it. I'm not going to force anything down anyone's throat. If a lot of people have because Counterparty's been so static, and it's been a niche for a long time. Part of the identity that a lot of people have adopted is we don't do that. We don't do virtual machines. We don't do anything that any other blockchain has ever done. That's not my attitude. My attitude is that there have been plenty of innovations, and some of them are good and some of them are bad. And we should adopt the good ones and leave the bad. I think that virtual machines are a great thing. I think that they allow for a lot more flexibility and power than even Counterparty can provide. And Counterparty can do more than ordinals or anything like that. But there's resistance, and if people don't want it, then we won't build it.
Yeah, fair enough. What's up, Kane?
Hey, what's up, man? Good to see the face of the emblem here. It's always wonderful. Question is going back to wallets. The wallets that are being built. Is there anything on the horizon for? I mean, yeah, video is important to me, but just multi-file type viewage, because again, I'm just one person, but I know there's more people who utilize it. The beautiful thing about a Counterparty token is it's not one thing. That's always been a valuable thing to me. Like, it's a JPEG, it's a GIF, it's also a video. Maybe you want to put an album in there. Whatever. It's multiple file types that are all viewable at once. However, there's nowhere to view them currently besides Xchain, and no wallet has seemed to have anything viewable or even functional in that respect. So is what's being built going to take that into consideration?
I can say that. So the wallet that Unspendable Labs is developing is called Horizon, actually, and we will be aiming initially for parity with Xchain, because it supports pretty much everything, and people use it pretty actively. And we want there to be an alternative to it. It's going to take a while to achieve not just parity, but like actually have that wallet be really like a joy to use. And we have plenty of things on our roadmap to do after that. Cool new features and integrations at the wallet level, at the integration level, and multimedia would absolutely be on that list.
Follow-up question to that is the blue check on Counterparty has always been the green banner. I mean, prior to blue checks, there was green banner. And a green banner is how someone who perhaps isn't as savvy knows where something's coming from. They can look, see, and go, oh yeah, this is a green banner. This is fine. You couldn't fake it. You couldn't clone it. You couldn't copy it. It just was. So will there be something that takes not just into account all of the projects that have green banners, but new projects that would like to get them as well?
It's a very good question. That is a thing that I have not looked into much yet. And I'm open-minded about how exactly to implement that and what the roadmap should be. So we'd love to hear from people what they want, what they find useful, what they need, and how they think that should work for future wallets.
Will you need a green banner for future wallets?
Yeah, I think.
Is it necessary?
Yeah, I mean, what Kane's talking about with the green banner, I mean, it's collections, right? It's someone decided they were going to make a collection. This is the official version of this collection. So when you go on to on Xchain right now, and you look at an asset, and maybe somebody added an extra letter to an asset name to like try to fake a previous asset name or something, but it doesn't have the green banner, then you know it's not there. I think that was a very kind of manual solution. I think it's a tough problem in that, like if you look at how does Ordinal solve that problem, right? You go to something like Magic Eden, and they have collections, right? But how do collections get added? Well, you submit them. So now they've got somebody dedicated to just reviewing collections. And that becomes, it's still a manual process, but if they've got the manpower to do it, then you've got the person there kind of reviewing things, and off they go. I mean, you can certainly do it in a different way, where you could kind of say, well, you could put collections under addresses, right? And say like, well, we know who owns this address and they created this collection, so we know it's their collection.
If you put like a volume metric next to it or something, that would probably be like just a little icon too.
I'm certainly, so I can talk from the Rare Pepe side, or just the Pepe in general side of things. What Pepe WTF does is they've slowly Al's added collections there as they kind of become more established. And then the great thing about when a collection gets added to Pepe.WTF, it also gets added to RarePepeWallet.WTF. So like if you go on Rare Pepe Wallet and hit the drop down of collections, you'll see all the collections that are on Pepe.WTF. So that's kind of, so Kane, I would say that your best bet here is to just talk to Al and get your own collection on Pepe.WTF as part of a shorter term solution until something else is built. I mean, my plan with Rare Pepe Wallet.WTF is to bring in, allow you to see anything that was created with open asset. I do right now, like in fake rares and anything that has an MP4, the MP4 loads as your card image. So like if you load your fake rare collection in Rare Pepe Wallet, you'll see the MP4 as the front of the card. Like, so you can run them right in the wallet. I try to make it pretty smooth. It's pretty seamless in that respect. I guess the problem is if you're not part of an official collection, you don't show up. So I am working one of the things that you run into when you start kind of allowing the kind of open-ended things is sort of bad actors and curation falls on you rather than somebody else. Right now, curation falls on Al, who curates Pepe WTF, and then I just assume Al's doing a good job curating, and then it lands in the wallet. So I am open to it. I know a lot of people use Easy Asset. I know it's kind of become this kind of established way. Arweave has become a kind of like way people are using to store media. So yeah, I mean, I am planning on building that into Rare Pepe Wallet. I mean, I was looking at it the other day, so hopefully it's something I can do in the coming weeks, so that people can see their assets. You just kind of explorability becomes then another issue. So I got to figure out a way to make it easy to kind of explore existing assets that aren't in your wallet. So it's just kind of keeping the nice, smooth user experience, but then like slowly opening it up. I will say that if you're just trying to create assets with images, you can mint directly in Rare Pepe Wallet, and then they will show up in the wallet. So obviously right now that only supports images. So when you get to MP4s and kind of multimedia and stuff, a lot of people default back to Easy Asset or Easy Asset, right? So yeah, I mean, the goal is to, at least from my perspective, with the more, let's say, application specific Counterparty wallet where it's focused on Rare Pepes and kind of the derivatives of that, or let's say just that style. I mean, it does also support stamps, but yeah, that having that style, I'd like to be able to support stuff that basically anybody can create. I mean, that was the reason for adding in minting into the wallet itself. that gives me a little more control as far as curation by having it through the wallet. But I'm certainly open to doing easy asset stuff. I just got to think, I got to be prepared. I got to be prepared to hide images, I guess. So yeah, I mean, I certainly want to get to that point. So look for at least easy asset stuff being added to Rare Pepe Wallet in the short term. And then yeah, I mean, you got a collection like with Darky's Rare Go-Go. Like I've talked to Al. I mean, see if you can get it added to Pepe WTF, and as soon as it's out of there, you'll see it in Rare Pepe Wallet. So and then you can filter by collection, filter by series. You can use the DEX really easily through there. So yeah, I mean it's just a matter of kind of focusing the view. You get the generic counterparty, the wallets you want to do everything, and then you look at something more like Rare Pepe Wallet, where I really try to focus the view on what's specific to that. So yeah, anytime that's another thing I think a lot of people don't realize now. The DEX is now built into the new Rare Pepe wallet. So like fake rares, dank rares, all that kind of stuff, you can use the DEX right like you could from the original Rare Pepe wallet, right from the card itself. You hit the trade button and it opens up the order book and you can trade right there.
Yeah, but sorry, just last thing. I know that there's a couple workarounds now. I know Dropless is working on one, and I look forward to that. And I'm sure you had something planned, and that's awesome as well. I'm not going to pretend I don't have a dog in the fight, but also like for the liquidity that I think some of us all want, there's different versions of it for whatever dog you have in this fight. And for asset creators, you know, a way to quickly discern a fake. Not fake, you know, in the good way, but something that's not authentic, obviously, like a way to look and go, oh, that's obviously not part of the collection, the blue check method. Last question, and I'm going to go swan dive back into the audience. There was originally talk, maybe not in this particular conversation, but about maybe some Solana availability. I know that probably made about 35% of you cringe and your butthole tighten. I don't want to affect your buttholes. I'm just asking, because if I didn't ask, I feel bad later. So has there been any headway with that? Is there any plan for that? I'm sure you guys have 1,000 other things to do, but I figured I'd throw it out there.
I mean, I can feel the Solana one because I feel like there's an albatross in the room as far as that goes. No, I mean, I think the idea of being able to sort of like be able to kind of connect. I don't want to say connect because you're not really connecting the chains, but more like what's the thing that connects all blockchains, right? It's the people, it's users, right? It's like what like how do we connect everything? Well, it's us, right? It's us that use multiple things. So really what I'd like to see more of, and I think we can do a lot of when it comes to stuff like Solana or ETH or any other the base or whatever the flavor of the day is, right? Is to have a kind of a way to let's say have users like a user profile, and then you've got your counterparty address, you've got your Solana address. I mean, this is like a problem as old as time, right? I mean, that was one name back 10 years ago tried to do this. It's a tough problem because you need a network effect, right? You can't have this thing that 5 people use and then that's it, right? You need everybody to kind of jump on at the same time. I personally, I've looked into it. I haven't gotten to the point where anything's anywhere near production. But at the same time, I do think it's something that in the future, as we see these like other chains and stuff progress, if we want to see more people kind of using they're just using crypto, right? They're just that maybe I collect Rare Pepes on Counterparty and Bitcoin, but I like to trade meme coins on Solana and I like to do this and that. Well, if you kind of have this ability to kind of identify users across chains, then you have the ability to say, oh, say you own a particular Solana coin and we want to airdrop a particular rune onto Solana coins, then yeah, there's no reason there's no reason you can't do that. It's just having the infrastructure there to be able to kind of identify users across chain, have maybe claim methods, stuff like that. But it's definitely something I'm interested in because you can see as time goes on, there's different just things people become interested in, and it's hard to predict. So having the fact that I build wallets, it's kind of helps from a perspective of being able to prove you are who you are by, say, like signing messages and stuff like that. So I do have a feature that I need to write documentation to. You'll see it if you go to like Pepe WTF and you want to sign in to Pepe WTF. There is a sign in option with Rare Pepe Wallet. That's actually like, it's available to anybody, but there's no documentation, so there's no one would know how to set it up. But yeah, I need to work on the documentation for that. But basically, a sign in with Rare Pepe Wallet, and then the owner of that website can know basically for sure that the person that signed in controls X address that holds X assets, and then maybe gets certain privileges based on assets they hold and stuff like that. So it's there. It's one of the things I've been meaning to document. Maybe I'll work on that sooner than later, since the actual hard part's been built. I just need to kind of write a guide on how to use it. But yeah, no, I like the cross chain thing. I think that as we grow as just like crypto in general, I mean, it's going to become more important over time. So I think as the tools and wallets get easier, more prevalent. I know Adam talked about having wallets that are integrated with other Bitcoin L2s. I mean, it's important. I mean, it's important that we have these kind of like cross functionality things, so you're not siloed wherever you are. You have this kind of ability to kind of move between things in a more fluid manner, rather than just, all right, let's boot up this other wallet that I've got my like random coins in from 5 years ago, and let's boot up this other thing. So yeah, I think it'll become more important over time, and I think we'll get there. I think if everyone can just be patient, I think we'll get there.
Go ahead, Dogfather, and then we'll go to Cody.
Yeah, just super quick on the collection issue. I think this is a question that even the ordinance community had a lot of headache, like the manual JSON stuff, and then also the market power. If Magic Eden has the JSON and the other marketplaces also want to show the collection info, so that puts the dominant marketplace in some monopoly position, so that's not ideal. So on the ordinance side, they introduced the parent-child inscriptions, so it's a way to have that on-chain, so this is to move forward. I think with the current counterparty tech, what you could do, you could use something like broadcasting, like BTNS, what JDog is doing, so that the project owners, once the card is accepted, just issues one of these broadcasts, and then it's verifying that this asset is actually in this collection, and the indexer can pick it up, and then it's added to the collection, and it's kind of like on-chain verifiable.
Yeah, this was Dogfather brings up a good point. This was actually an issue that we ran into at Emblem Vault when we were adding support for a variety of Bitcoin ordinal collections. We realized that Magic Eden has a huge degree of centralization and control over the traits and metadata of all these collections. So we had to literally go one by one to each of these project founders and ask for traits. A lot of times the founders don't know where the traits are. They don't even know the stipulations. They thought that Magic Eden shared the traits with everybody. And it becomes a huge pain in the ass to do. So if there's a way to build that or to make it open source, I would highly recommend to do that, because it would be a really big net benefit for everybody.
So I'm inscribing the traits for my most recent collection, the entire metadata on chain, on Dogecoin, but we can do that on Dogecoin because we have unlimited size capabilities. So
yeah, I would say you probably just have to build some sort of metadata standard into the protocol in some capacity. We'll go to Cody, and then I think we'll wrap it up right after that.
Hey, Jake. So I think it was Jake that was saying the other day, ultimately, that is the end state of all crypto, is sort of some sort of integration between them all, so we don't have 8 million different things. 8 million different places we have to go to. And I want to add, since you're in the room, Joe, can you tell me a little something, drop something about you see it? Just tell us something. I got your actual body virtually in the room.
Yeah, I think you'll just have to ask Skrilla about that. I think Skrilla's got all the info as it comes to that.
Really, one last chance to shill, buddy. Here you go, man.
I don't see it. I don't see it. I don't even know what you guys are talking about. I'm over here building a studio.
Hey, all good, all good. I'll just tap a little bit on what Cody was mentioning because I just talk about this a lot. Obviously, working at Emblem is the end state of quote unquote connecting these blockchains. You know, there's no one uniform way to do this, and we're starting to see now with all of these different partnerships that Starkware has a way to bring assets to Bitcoin and connect it to Bitcoin, right? All these Bitcoin L2s are using the EVM way. Emblem has its own way. There's bridges and all types of different stuff. But the whole goal is that everyone sees is that if you can, you know, unify liquidity across all these chains, right? Now you're not siloed to one specific blockchain. This is actually like a net benefit for users because it drives fees down because now OpenSea on ETH has to compete with the marketplace fee of OpenSea on ETH now has to compete with the marketplace fee of Tensor on Solana versus the Ordinal's wallet marketplace fee on Bitcoin. And so it just really improves scale and drives down prices, and it's overall a net benefit. And you'll see a lot of these collections and projects probably find a lot more funding because now you could just take these same assets across chains and unify it in that way. And then on the NFT side, right, this is a little bit more speculative, but right, if you're into farming, right now you have to go buy native assets on every chain, right? To go farm on Blast, you have to go buy a Blast asset. To go farm on XYZ L2, you have to go buy those native assets. Where if you can take the same NFT across the different chains, now you're taking the same asset, the same capital, and putting it to work in multiple areas. And again, I think that's also net benefit for users, and it'll probably push up a lot of the top collections, like for Rare Pepe and CryptoPunks and stuff, because now you're getting more value out of these, you know, 6-figure purchases and putting it to work. So that's kind of like our vision. And it seems like, you know, Emblem has thought about this for 8 years now at this point, and you're starting to see a lot more teams start to see the final mission because the majority of these Bitcoin assets that are being created, whether it's a native token or a fungible token, are going to be exported. This is, I mean, if you just look at like the success of Emblem of, you know, doing over 200 million in kind of Bitcoin NFT trading volume on Ethereum, I think that's kind of the route where a lot of these native assets will go, whether it's, you know, runes being traded on centralized exchanges or NFTs being traded on a different blockchain to farm or to scale or whatever the case is. But as we know, it's unlikely that, you know, you'll be able to have all of this trading activity happen on Bitcoin L1. So that's the goal. It's definitely quite complicated, but the end state is unifying liquidity and users across all these different chains and abstracting the complexities away.
Yo, Jake, how hard is it to have like, if you had a marketplace with XCP assets and you just wanted to accept, like Joe said, whatever the flavor of the month. So like right now, like Base and Solana, you know, a lot of people are making money over there. So when people make a lot of money off those meme coins, they tend to spend money, at least in the past, the history says they spend it on flexible JPEGs. Like if all these people are making like 6-7 figures, not all these people, but like the top 10% are making that much money on that. And, you know, obviously they're going to want a Nakamoto if they got any, you know, fucking brain cells in their head. So like I could see like right now, like if somebody listed some Nakamotos for like 200,000 or 300,000 and somebody's made like $5 million on fucking Bowden shitcoin, then why wouldn't they fucking buy a Naka? And you know what I mean? Like it would just be easy. Like you wouldn't have to convert like all the bridging bullshit. Like me, I've never bridged shit. Like I don't bridge. I don't have to fuck up bridges. Like all my shit is buried in my backyard. You know, not my backyard, but backyards. You know what I mean? It's like for like regular people that don't like use their phone and shit. I I don't know, man.
No,
I just
dude,
think it'd be so much easier.
Yeah,
if you could do that.
You have a great point. I'm actually smiling, and Adam's smiling as you say this, because this is actually what we're working on. So twofold here. The first one is really like, can Emblem market support counterparty native assets and PSVT support? Yes, it can. We're starting out on Ethereum because that's just kind of the state that we're in now, as kind of a underfunded company with a lack of resources. So we kind of have to really kind of start with what exists, but we do want to add native support for all Bitcoin assets, especially Counterparty. Right, Rare Pepe is really like the reason why Emblem exists, and same with Spells Genesis and some Namecoin and some of these other ones. So we want to continue supporting that. The second part, well, I guess there's kind of three parts. The second part, maybe this is a little bit of alpha. We're actually in conversations with Dark Farms about doing this. A feature that we want to roll out is called boutique storefronts, where we're creating custom, smart contracts for different types of users. Dark Farms is actually like a really good example here, because he's creating assets on different types of chains, right? He's creating NFTs on Ethereum, on Counterparty, on Ordinals, on Solana, but then he has a fungible token on Solana. So, right, he's really on 3 different states. He's on a UTXO model, he's on a EVM model, and an SVM model. So the whole idea here is,
and don't forget the scam Tezos model.
Right. And so the idea here is, right, how can you kind of push this together or connect, right? Purchasing ordinals with a Solana meme token. And so this is something that we're exploring, and Shannon believes that this is something that we can do. We'd like to take it a few steps further, but and we have some ideas about it. Another idea is being on Emblem markets, being able to have your asset delivered on any chain that you want. So let's say, for example, here, right, we start accepting BOEM, and you want to purchase a Nakamoto card with whatever the BOEM amount equals to, but the Nakamoto card is on Ethereum, and you want to purchase it in Solana, but you want it delivered on Counterparty, or you want it delivered on Scam Chain Tezos or whatever. If Emblem's deployed there, you can just have it delivered on whatever chain that you want. I think most people probably have it native, but again, everyone has different use cases for all of it. And so that is definitely something that we're working towards, is making Emblem Markets this chain agnostic marketplace where you can really list in any type of cryptocurrency, whether that's a ERC20, SPL, or runes. And then you can have the asset delivered on whatever chain Emblem supports, whether it's Ethereum, Blast, Ordinals, kind of, etc. It's going to take a little bit to get there, but that's exactly the vision, and the idea of like the boutique storefronts and Dark Farms, right? Something we've been talking about, because he's kind of running up into that issue, and he's searched around for different types of solutions and hasn't found too much yet. He's kind of just working through it now. And I know there's probably a handful of people in this space as well that have the same issues, right? A lot of people here are meme artists that have created NFTs on multiple chains, and now all the meme coin, the fungible token, right, community tokens are being made on Solana, and some are on different ETH-L2s. And so really pairing that together with a cross-chain solution as we move into a multi-chain world is 100% the mission that we're going to. So if anyone has that same issue like Dark Farms, please reach out to us, and we want to try to work with all the different creators who have these type of multi-chain communities, whether it's one fungible token on one chain and NFTs on all these other, or vice versa, or whatever mix that it is. So I hope that answers the question.
Yes.
Cool. Boom. Adam at McBride, just so I can make sure. Do you have any final questions, any comments about this before we wrap up? Anything for Adam or Joe?
No, I think we're good. I think it's we're looking for Q3 when we get those wallets, get the Explorer and stuff. Pretty exciting stuff from Adam. Adam, do you have any final words?
No, I thought this was a great discussion. I'm really glad we had it. I'm looking forward to future such discussions. Thanks for having me. I really like doing this kind of thing, getting the chance to talk about all this stuff, which I care a lot about.
Yeah, we appreciate you, man. And it's awesome that you came back and you're continuing to work. Joe, do you have any final comments, any updates on Pepe Wallet, or anything you'd like to know as we wrap it up here?
No, I think everybody just. I mean, if you have questions, I would say if anyone just has questions, just reach out. I mean, I think what tends to happen is people don't know what's going on, and then make assumptions about things and everything. Just like we're here, like we're around. So just reach out, ask questions. As far as wallets go, Rare Pepe Wallet at WTF is the one to use if you like Rare Pepes and the derivatives. And then as far as that goes, if you have any issues with it, please let me know. Yeah, that's it.
Awesome, guys. Well, I always love this conversation as well. The space had maintain 100 people the entire time for a morning show. It's really good, especially with all the competition. So there's a lot of opportunity here. I think everyone realizes that the provenance of the chain the protocol is impeccable, and we'll continue to grow this together, right? We all provide, everyone on the space and people in the crowd all provide different solutions, whether it's protocols, products, art, right, explorers, etc. As long as we just continue to work together, Counterparty will be a competitor with Ordinals here pretty shortly, as long as we all just remain patient. So appreciate everybody for joining us. Adam, myself, and Chris, who are on stage, work at Emblem Vault, the leading cross-chain NFT protocol in the industry. Hopefully this month we'll be launching Emblem Markets beta and a new front-end minting experience. Yes, we heard you guys. We're actually going to be on mobile, right? The fact that Emblem is scaled without a mobile solution, it still blows my mind. Both of those are close to being done. On the Emblem account, if you look at the pinned tweet, we did our town hall last week. You can see all of the updates that are coming to Emblem as we move into the Emblem 2.0 system. Tomorrow, we're just doing a recap. Adam's going to cover some consensus and talk consensus. And then on Thursday, we are doing the inscription show. Until then, guys, everybody be safe out there. We'll be back tomorrow at 11:30 a.m. Eastern time. Stay safe out there and see you guys tomorrow.